Welcome back to Bourbon Battles, where I'm Joe.
And I'm Joe.
You're Joe?
I mean Chad.
Oh, Chad. You get confused sometimes. Is that because we use stage names?
Yep.
That it gets confusing. Hey, we got a really special episode coming your way. We're not going to battle anything. We're not even going to drink anything blind, which, as you know, here recently, we've been making a huge effort to do everything blind. And I think we probably ought to talk about doing even more blinds with some of our other little things.
You know, I heard on the internet the other day that blind was the way to be, and I've tried to figure out why. And I said, I know who I can ask. I can ask Joe why we drink stuff blind.
We like to drink our whiskey blind because of Bourbon Battles. We don't give a rat's ass what's on the label. We just like good whiskey. You like good whiskey?
Yeah.
You like bad whiskey?
Sometimes.
Hey, but let's talk about good whiskey today.
Okay.
So today's episode, we've done a couple of these. We did like Wilderness Trail. We've done some
Blue Run.
We really haven't done that one yet. We did a quick 60-second video, but we got a Blue Run video coming. These were the distilleries. We're working directly with them. So today we're going to talk to you about Limestone Branch down in Kentucky.
What about Log Still?
We did Log Still Branch as well, the Monks Road line, yeah. So those two are actually kind of connected, right? Because they come from some of the same family lineage. So today we're going to talk to you about Yellowstone and their offerings. You know, this is their... what you're seeing all over the place. It's kind of hard. We'll put some pictures up there if we need to. But they have more than just this. They have their special releases, their distillery only releases, their store picks, their rye. We're going to get into all that. You've been there before.
I have.
I've been there before. It's small.
It is.
Actually, one of my favorite places that I've ever been to.
Is that right?
I really enjoyed it there. I enjoyed my time there. So...
Did you have a phenomenal time?
Had a phenomenal time. It was my birthday. So, hey, we could sit here and tell you all about Limestone Branch Distillery, but instead we're going to let them do it for you by showing you this quick little 2-minute video.
Check it out, guys.
Enjoy.
My name's Paul Beam. I'm a 7th generation Beam, co-founder of the Limestone Branch Distillery.
I'm Steve Beam, and I am the distiller here at Limestone Branch Distillery. Our family goes back to the beginning of the industry here in Kentucky, and we go back to Jacob Beam, who made his first whiskey in 1795. And what a lot of people don't realize is that he had 3 grandsons that were all in the business, and it set 3 distinct lines in the Beam family tree.
The Joseph branch of Beams are the Beams that we come off of. So Joseph had a son by the name of Minor Case Beam, who was my great-grandfather.
Minor Case's story. That's why I pushed to get back into the business. I always felt it was an unfinished chapter in our book.
It was all about rebirth of our family history and heritage, so it was very important to keep it for the next generations to come. We have a yeast jug that belonged to my great-grandfather, and they swabbed it for a strain of yeast, which would have been over 100 years old. So we are now using the yeast from back in his era of around 1895.
Minor Case Rye is a tribute to my great-grandfather. He was cut short, died shortly after Prohibition, never to distill again. And back in the day, he made Kentucky's finest whiskey, and this follows through in that tradition.
We go back on the other side of the family, and that's J.W. Dant. Now, they had a distillery in Dant, Kentucky.
They had this salesman who was out west, and he came back and he said, you know, they've got this new national park. It's the first thing, and everybody's really excited out here. And, you know, if we were to name a bourbon Yellowstone, we would probably sell it really well. So that was it. They branded it Yellowstone, and it's been on the shelf since 1872. Even went through Prohibition, you could get your prescription for Yellowstone. One of the things that I like about Yellowstone Select is the nose follows through on the palate. Real classic Kentucky bourbon profile. The limited edition is a unicorn for us. It really is where I put my creativity to the test. Every year is a different profile, so each one is unique. We're able to make about a barrel a day. I don't want to necessarily be the biggest distillery in Kentucky, just really concentrate on making those barrels the best that we can possibly do.
We distill with a 150-gallon copper pot still. It's handcrafted. Everything's done by taste. We use a white heirloom sweet corn that we grow just right down the street, and we're not using computers or anything. It's just done the old-fashioned way of distilling. Everything's just done by hand, sticking the labels on there by eyesight. That's the way it was done back in the day, and that's the way we're doing it today.
Limestone Branch was one of the founding members of the Kentucky Bourbon Craft Trail. So when a guest comes into Limestone Branch Distillery, we greet them. We give them the history of bourbon here in Kentucky. I think people come out with a better understanding of how distillation is done after coming here. We always top it off with a taste of our products, which always makes things a little bit better. So our family's been in these Kentucky hills for over 200 years. We have the great limestone water surrounded by corn. It's just a really ideal setting for a distillery. So we'd love for your family to come visit our family here at Limestone Branch Distillery.
Hey, we're back. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Really cool. I really enjoyed the kind of the narrative and the story on the yeast jug and how they brought back the recipe, the yeast, and all that. Very interesting.
That's a trending thing now, apparently. I was unaware.
Yeah, yeast hunters and all that stuff. So that's a big part of the process. So, hey, we're going to give you the lowdown on this. This is what we have. So we have the original recipe. Then we have a store pick. This particular one happens to be from Legacy Pub in Lafayette, Indiana. By the way, I'm pretty sure Stephen Beam went to Purdue Boiler Up.
Is that where you went? Oh, it's not. Then quit talking about it.
That's all right. And then we have their family recipe, which at this time, I do believe at one time it was put out west.
There will not be a greater letdown in America than when Purdue pisses it all away for everybody.
They're going to win the national championship.
Okay.
So, hey, okay, we'll get on with the get on. They played good the other day.
They sure did.
And then this is their distillery only release right now. Yes, this was floating around out west. It had something to do with the park, because you found one out west, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now they did a limited run out there. I've done my due diligence and research. This at this time is distillery only. This is their 2022 special release. This is a finished bourbon, finished in Marsala Supremore casks.
That's a mellow mash. What's the difference?
Mellow mash?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I can't answer that. I never noticed that on the bottle before. And then, of course, their rye. This is an MGP rye. This is finished in sherry casks. So let's get into all these.
Is that the minor case?
This is the minor case rye, yeah. Named after Mr. Bean's grandfather, great-grandfather, as you saw in the video. So this has gotten very popular. I've talked to Alex over at Red Barrel, and when the show Yellowstone, which really has nothing to do with the whiskey, comes out, there's a run on it, and it becomes difficult to find. But for the most part, around here, it's pretty easy to find this one right here. They're more in the minor case rye. This you're never going to find. Store pick and very limited release. When I was at the distillery, they did have this. And by the way, thank you, Limestone Branch, for sending that to us. I think as they mentioned in that video, it is just a straight up, very traditional bourbon. It's about as traditional as it gets.
93 proof. Is that what this comes in at?
93 proof, that's correct.
So their batched standard bourbon that they put out is 93 proof. And do we know how old it is?
I don't.
I'd say it's at least 4 years old.
I would say so too.
Maybe not though, but I would think so.
Yeah. Just good traditional.
There's a bunch of tasting notes on the back. You want to talk about any of those?
Wrong channel, Chief.
Sorry.
We don't do tasting notes here. Sorry.
Why?
This, because they're stupid. I poured you a little bit there. This is a store pick. Like I said, this particular one comes from Legacy Pub in Lafayette, Indiana. You've got some of these, don't you?
Yeah.
Store picks. I assume, do you have more than one?
I don't know. I think so.
You like them, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to come in with this particular store pick at 109 proof. Very easy to drink at that proof point.
These are single barrels, right?
These are single barrels. Batch, single barrel, batch. Then I believe this is a batch too. I believe this is a single barrel. Yeah. So really picks up a lot of flavor with that higher proof. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I will say more different flavor. And this one here is the one that you think.
I get peaches in this one, like an extreme amount of peaches. You do not.
Mm-mm.
We've tried this. This is a 6-year-old product. Like I say, it's a family recipe. It's 100 proof.
Is that a 150th anniversary bottle? Is that what that is, or?
The park, I believe.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. And hey, what really worth mentioning? Part of the proceeds for everything they sell goes back to the national parks.
Every bottle.
Which is kind of a big deal to you, right? And
yeah,
it's kind of a big deal to me. I like to go out hiking and gallivanting around.
How do you spell that?
Around.
No.
What? Gallivanting?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to have pen and paper. I'm not going to lie. And then I probably
shouldn't say it if you can't spell it.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You just wait. So when I went to the distillery and I bought this there, I fell in love with it and the tasting.
Yeah. Like I said, or like Joe said, he gets a lot of peach on it. I do not. So that's one reason why we usually don't give tasting notes.
My wife gets peach on it as well, and she doesn't like whiskey. Do you get any fruitiness at all?
Not really.
Which is kind of interesting to me. And Chad's exactly right. That's why we don't spend a lot of time giving tasting notes.
Yeah, I don't get any peach. No peach.
You like it?
That's not bad for 6-year-old and higher proof like that. It's not bad.
Of course, then
I've never tried this.
This one here?
Mm-hmm.
You got some of the older ones, don't you? Like the year before or something?
Mm-hmm.
Moving right into their 2022 special release coming to you at 101 proof. Marsala. You say that. You speak French and Italian and
Superiore.
Superiore casks. Yeah. This one's pretty tough to find. Although you just saw some on a shelf the other day, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Central Indiana.
Yeah. And I don't believe that I've ever seen one on a shelf. If I have, I just don't recall.
Got some ethanol on it.
Mm-hmm. Pretty tasty. Pretty easy to drink. Nice flavors. You can taste that finish in there. I like it.
I think being finished tames it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, especially it's 101?
101 proof. Great presentation. Not cheap.
No.
But, if you're into collecting whiskey and stuff, you probably try it. Now, this one is, believe it or not, this is my favorite product they make. Like I said, this is an MGP product. It's a rye finished in sherry casks at 90 proof. And this has become one of my favorite go-to daily drinkers. Maybe it's because it's wintertime.
Could be.
And we got a snowstorm coming.
Oh, shut down the world.
They're going to be like 3 inches. We had a snowstorm the other day and got, how much did we get? 1/8 of an inch.
Can't answer that.
So, yeah.
So this is the minor cask rye?
Minor case rye.
Minor case rye?
Yep.
What did I say, cask? Sorry.
Gosh, there's such a great nose on it. You can get some of that rye in there. But then you also get the sweetness. I really, really enjoy that. And then, of course, I would really like the family recipe as more of a daily drinker. It's just very difficult, so I kind of hold it back to, got to make her last, And I would say the store picks, don't hesitate to pick one up.
For that matter, the regular batch bottle.
It's cheap. It's easy to find.
The rye is not bad. It's pretty easy to drink. And that could be because we just drank all those other ones in front of it, but
yeah,
it's not a bad choice. I think out of the 5 of those, I probably like this one the best.
The store pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be a great one too.
Could be. They're all different. That's the beauty of them.
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
taste it and then buy it.
And I would suggest, it's just me personally, if you go someplace that's got a bunch of store picks and they won't let you taste them, tell them sorry.
Yeah. So, hey, my suggestion, people ask, or if you see it on social media, hey, I'm going to go to Kentucky and I want to go to a distillery. I usually suggest 3 or 4 places that are my favorites, and I always mention Limestone Branch. I have not yet met Steven. Hopefully you watch this, Steven. Shoot me a message. I'd like to meet you and have a cigar on the porch, but known as one of the better brand ambassadors. He won some awards for being a great brand ambassador.
They're really, I will say this, they are very welcoming, very accommodating, and very nice at that location. Everybody who works there.
You've done the tour, right?
And they'll go out of their way to help you with anything that you might need and or request.
Yeah.
So
great place, great cocktails, have a cigar on the porch. Check these guys out down there in Kentucky. We'll put a link in the description to their website. And as always, hey, drinking bourbon's supposed to be fun. Don't buy this stuff and put it on Facebook and flip it. Open it with your friends. That's where the value is.
I agree.
Be a sipper, not a flipper.
He got it right this time.
Hey, and don't be a bourbon butthole.
Or a whiskey wise ass.
Hey, until next time, if you drink, don't drive.
If you drink, don't drive, do the watermelon crawl.